Welcome back into another episode of Hefe's Cabin. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. But let's get right into today's episode. Up first, we're going to do the Thursday night review, and then we'll get right into the Sunday football slate, followed by, for our WWE fans, our Friday night review episode. So let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. Thursday Night Football was the Jordan Love and Tucker Kraft show. Tucker Kraft caught six of seven targets for 124 yards, one touchdown pass, while Josh Jacobs, he carried that ball for 23 times, 84 yards, while Jordan Love had a day of his own with 290 two passing yards, two touchdowns, and 12 yards on the ground, beating the Commanders 27 to 18. Jayden Daniels and the Commanders, unfortunately, they struggled all night. That defense is absolutely serious. The Packers at one point in this game were even chanting, and this was obviously geared towards Micah Parsons. Thank you, Jerry, for the obvious trade 1 week prior to the season, where Micah Parsons was traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers for a defensive tackle and a couple first round picks. Um, as I said, the Commanders they struggled all night, but Jayden Daniels he still managed to get 200 passing yards and two passing touchdowns as well. Unfortunately, though, he was sacked a total four times, which is just like the last week. So it seems like the threshold for the Packers right now is four sacks. We'll see how many times they get over that as the season goes on. Zach Ertz for the Commanders, he came alive in that game. However, unfortunately, it was a little bit too late as that was towards the second half of the game. He had six catches for 64 yards, and he did get one of Jayden Daniels' touchdown passes. Unfortunately, in this game as well, we did see some devastating injuries from both sides of the ball. First, we from the Packers in that first quarter, Jaden Reed, he went down with a broken collarbone. He did secure and looked like he did catch that pass. But unfortunately, it was getting called back anyways. But Jaden, I'm sorry, but yeah, Jaden Reed, he unfortunately broke his collarbone and he will miss the remainder of the season. We'll see if we get any word if they do make the postseason for a postseason run if he is able to come back. As far as the Commanders, their devastating losses came in that fourth quarter. First up, we had Dietrich Wise Jr., who was carted off the field. I'm not sure about his injury right now as I'm recording this broadcast, but prayers up to him, of course, as well. I'm not sure if he's missing the remainder of the season, but uh, I do know their other injury with their running back, Austin Eckler. He injured his right Achilles tendon, and he will be missing the remainder of this season. So prayers up to all three of these guys for sure. Next week, the Packers will get their first taste on the road as they face the Cleveland Browns and the Commanders. They will come back home to face the Las Vegas Raiders. But for both teams, they, like I said, they took devastating losses. Prayers up for both of those franchises, and hopefully somebody can pick those pieces up for the Packers at the receiver position. They're very thin, as Watson is already out. Right now for them. As far as the running back situation for the Commanders, um, their rookie running back is showing promise, but Austin Eckler with his ability to catch and run and his ability to come out the backfield, that is truly going to be missed. So we'll see how they can replace that. Let's go ahead and get right into some Sunday football for you guys. We got a bunch of games at 1 o'clock. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Up first, we have the Bills at the Jets. Both teams. Oh, I'm sorry. The Jets are 0-1, but the Bills are 1-0 coming into this matchup. Last week, Josh Allen and the Bills completed a fourth quarter miracle comeback on the Baltimore Ravens, and they have their sights now set on the new look Jets, who were in the battle of their own last week against their former quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen is 9-4 against the Jets, and new look quarterback Justin Fields had the pleasure of playing Josh Allen one time in his career when he was still a Chicago Bear, losing that matchup. The Bills have won the last three straight matchups against the New York Jets. My best bet in this matchup is Garrett Wilson going over his 59.5 receiving totals. He hit that total both games last year, and with Justin Fields at quarterback, I do believe that is very, very, very much possible again for a third straight time. As far as a winner in this matchup, I do believe that the Bills are riding high into this matchup, and that could be a spell for disaster. The Jets are very much seeking a win here after last week's fumble loss. to the Steelers. So I do believe the Jets could come away in this matchup with the win, especially being at home with the crowd behind them. Last year, the matchup at home with the Bills was already very close, and with the better quarterback, in my opinion, at the helm now, I do believe that they can win this matchup. So I'm going to go with the Jets to win this matchup. But I definitely love Garrett Wilson going over his receiving total. In the next 1 o'clock game, we have the Chicago Bears 0-1 facing the Detroit Lions as 0-1 as well. Both teams will be looking to make up from their week one losses. The Bears allowed 21 fourth quarter points last week on their way to a loss, while Detroit got dismantled by the Packers. Jared Goff has a 7-4 record versus the Bears while owning a 2-0 record versus Caleb Williams. I expect that trend to continue and Detroit to fix their wrongs from last week. My best bet in this matchup, however, is Caleb Williams going over his 215 passing yards. He went over that both times last season. And I do expect that trend to continue only because Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears will be playing from behind, in my opinion, most of this game. And they're not going to be able to rely on their running game as much as they will be their passing game. In the next 1 o'clock game, we have the Rams 1-0 traveling to the 0-1 Titans. Matthew Stafford and the Rams travel to Tennessee. The Titans put up a fight last week in Denver, and now they come home for a test against the Rams. Stafford is 0-4 versus the Titans in his career, but he is facing a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward. My best bet for this matchup is Matthew Stafford's passing yards going 235 and a half. As far as a winner in this matchup, I can definitely see the Titans coming away with the win. They played the Denver Broncos very well last week, and with Stafford's 0-4 record against the Titans, that's very alarming. Obviously, trends aren't always continued, but Cam Ward also is seeking his first NFL win. So it's all going to come down to who wants it more. With the Titans being at home and their crowd behind them, I'm gonna ride with them for this week. In the next 1 o'clock matchup, we have the 0-1 Seahawks versus the 1-0 Steelers. A late TD pass last week crushed the Seahawks' dreams of starting this season 1-0, and now they gear up to face a new-look Steelers team with Aaron Rodgers at the helm and a familiar face in the receiver position in DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf played pretty much his entire career with the Seattle Seahawks, but now he is a Pittsburgh Steeler. Um, in his career, Aaron Rodgers is 7-4 versus Seattle. Sam Darnold owns a 1-1 record versus the Steelers. My best bet in this matchup is DK Metcalf versus former team going over that 67 and a half receiving yards. Again, versus former team, I believe he's going to have a lot to prove in this matchup, and I believe that he's going to show this team why they should have re-signed him instead of letting him go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. As far as my win in this matchup, I do believe that Aaron Rodgers will secure this victory at home, and they will start this season 2-0, while these Seahawks will start the season unfortunately 0-2. In my next matchup, as far as somebody starting the season 0-2, we have the 0-1 Patriots at the 0-1 Dolphins. So somebody in this divisional matchup will have to start the season 0-2, unfortunately. After, or maybe not, if we get a tie after a devastating week one loss for both teams. Drake May and the Patriots look to get things going against the divisional rival Dolphins, while Tyreek Hill and Tua look to get the Dolphins going and do the same thing against the Patriots. These two quarterbacks faced off against each other one time last season as the Dolphins routed the Patriots 34-15. My best bet in this matchup is Hunter Henry going over his 35 and a half receiving yards. As far as a winner in this matchup, I'm going to go with the Patriots. Even though they lost last week, I believe the Patriots have enough promise. The Dolphins didn't show me enough pride last week and enough willpower to get anything going in the NFL right now. Tua doesn't look like an NFL starting quarterback. Tyreek Hill doesn't look like he really wants to be there anymore, and I'm not sure what's going on with that defense. There's a lot of questions in Miami right now. As far as the Patriots loss last week, as I said in my broadcast last week, I believe that loss was more geared towards Tom Brady and the aura of the Raiders now that he owns a piece of their stake. And I predicted that loss, and I was right. And I'm going to predict that the Patriots go into Miami, and I know they don't have a history of winning in Miami a lot, but I do believe that they can win this ball game because it doesn't look like the Dolphins are going anywhere. There's also rumors of teams already reaching out to the Dolphins to acquire Tyreek Hill. And if they start the season 0-2, 0-3, 0-4, I believe those calls will ramp up, and we may get an in-season trade for Tyreek. There was rumors about him going back to Kansas City. Right now, Kansas City is desperate for a receiver for sure. The Packers, in my opinion, are desperate for a good receiver as well. If Tyreek Hill went to the Packers, they're immediately the Super Bowl champions, in my opinion. Even going to Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and we remember what him and Tyreek Hill used to do to teams. So to get those guys back together on the same page again would be absolutely incredible to see, and would be wonderful for the fans, I'm sure as well. But we'll continue to monitor that situation and get into that as well. Into my next 1 o'clock game, we have the 1-0 49ers at the 0-1 Saints. The 49ers pulled a win out last week in the final seconds. However, that win came with a highly cost as they lost two key pieces in their offense. Quarterback Brock Purdy will be out for 2 to 5 weeks, and George Kittle has been placed on IR. Old Patriots quarterback Mac Jones will take the helm. However, he is 0-2 versus the Saints. Spencer Rattler is still searching for his first NFL win as he is currently 0-6 in the NFL. My best bet in this matchup is Jawan Johnson going over his 38.5 receiving yards. As far as my winner in this matchup, it's going to come down to who wants it more. But with Mac Jones being inserted into the 49ers without George Kittle, no Debo Samuels, only a Christian McCaffrey, I'm not sure if they have enough for Mac Jones. He's he is not better in nowhere shape near form with Brock Purdy. There's going to be a lot of this is going to come down to coaching, and a lot of this is going to come down to the players sticking to their assignments and getting things done. I believe that the Saints can win this matchup, though. However, I know this 49ers are still favored in this matchup, but I believe this is a matchup that Rattler could finally rattle off his first win in the NFL in. But we'll see what happens. I'm on to the next matchup. We got three more 1 o'clock games, and then we'll get into some 4 o'clock games. And in my opinion, the 4 o'clock games, all three of them may be some of the best games of the week. But we'll get into that in a second. Up first, we got the next 1 o'clock game, the 0-1 Giants at the 0-1 Cowboys. Russell Wilson last week, he looked absolutely terrible versus the Commanders, and he's looking to right all of those wrongs in Dallas as he currently owns a 5-1 record against them. On the other side, we have CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb dropped a few passes last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, and he told head coach that a monster has awoken. Dak Prescott owns a 13-2 record versus the Giants, losing his first two games against them and ripping off 13 straight. My best bet in this matchup is CeeDee Lamb going over his 78.5 receiving yards. Um, CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion, as he said, he has a lot to prove. I believe he's going to get at least possibly 7 to 10 catches in this matchup and anywhere from 100 plus yards. I believe he's going to hit that total easily, and I believe Dallas is going to win this matchup and continue, and Dak is going to continue his reign over the Cowboys. I know Russell Wilson, as I said, has an impressive 5-1 matchup record against the Cowboys, but he's with the New York Giants now. Deron Bland is out this week for the Cowboys, so their cornerback situation is very thin, as Diggs is still working his way back in at full to get to full strength. So Malik Neighbors is probably going to have a day as well. We could look for Robinson to have a pretty good day as well, but Russell Wilson, man, I'm curious to see how great of a day he really has. And as far as points being scored, Dallas in my opinion, will put up more points, and I don't think Russell Wilson will be able to keep up. Um, so on to the next one. We have the 1-0 Jags versus the 1-0 Bengals. The Jaguars dominated the Panthers last week, and they look to continue that as they travel to Cincinnati. Last week, the Bengals squeezed out a 1 point victory in Cleveland. Joe Burrow is 2-0 versus Trevor Lawrence thus far in his career, and I expect that trend to continue here in Cincinnati. Another thing that I expect to continue is Joe Burrow going over his 271 passing yards as he has hit at least 300 passing yards in both of those matchups thus far against Trevor Lawrence. So Joe Burrow with that 1 point victory, I think him and the Bengals still have a lot to prove. Somebody in this matchup obviously is going to have to start the season flawless, and I believe it's going to be the Bengals at 2-0. So we'll see what happens there. In our last 1 o'clock matchup, I'm going to get into here. We have the 0-1 Cleveland Browns traveling to the 0-1 Baltimore Ravens. Last week, as I mentioned, the Browns lost in the final 3 minutes against the divisional rival Bengals, and now they travel to Baltimore to face the divisional rivals. They will also be the Ravens. They will be facing a familiar quarterback in Joe Flacco as he led the Ravens to a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco has faced the Ravens before, though. Since that in 2022, he faced them as a New York Jet, where he lost to Lamar Jackson. My best bet in this matchup is Lamar Jackson over 212 passing yards. He's hit that in three straight games against the Cleveland Browns. I expect this matchup to be rough and tough and very close. The Cleveland Browns, as far as their defensive side of the ball, are no slouches. The offense is still a question, in my opinion. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry have a lot to prove after last week's loss to Josh Allen and the Bills. So I expect the Ravens to definitely win this matchup. But it's definitely going to possibly be an under matchup for sure as well. But as far as like I said, my best bet is Lamar Jackson's passing yards. So let's go ahead and get into some 4 o'clock action. As I mentioned, these 4 o'clock games, in my opinion, are some of the best 4 o'clock games we're going to get. First up, we have the 1-0 Denver Broncos versus the 1-0 Colts. Last season, these two teams met in Denver. This time, Bo Nix and Denver will be traveling, however, and try and recreate that magic that they had last season when they routed the Colts 31-13. However, the Colts have a new quarterback in their system, and Danny Dimes, who is currently 0-1 versus Denver, but he looked very impressive last week, as well as Jonathan Taylor, who is my best bet for this week. I have Jonathan Taylor going over his 76.5 rushing yards. I know the Indianapolis Colts will be at home this week, but I do believe the Denver Broncos are just a better team. That defense is absolutely exceptional, and Bo Nix in his second year is still looking impressive. They definitely squeezed out a win last week, but this week I believe they will be able to get maybe a cleaner win. But we'll see what happens. The Colts definitely looked a lot better with Daniel Jones back in the backfield, and instead of Anthony Richardson. So we'll see what happens. And we'll see if the Colts can right their wrongs against Denver from last year, and they are at home. In the next matchup, we have the 0-1 Panthers versus the 1-0 Arizona Cardinals. Last season, these two quarterbacks dueled it out in Carolina, with the game even needing extra time as the Carolina Panthers secured a 36-30 overtime win over the Cardinals last season. Kyler Murray will be looking for revenge, while Bryce Young will be looking to improve his record to 1-1. My best bet in this matchup, I actually have two, both of their running backs. I have James Conner going over his 64.5 rushing yards and Chuba Hubbard going over their 61.5 rushing yards. Both of these running backs last year went over 100 rushing yards. They had, I believe, over 250 rushing yards combined. I have to go back and check that, but they definitely both had over 100 rushing yards. Um, as far as a winner in this matchup, Carolina is definitely seeking a win. Last season, they were able to get it. However, they were at home for that matchup. And Kyler Murray, this is not Call of Duty season, and Call of Duty is not good right now. So Kyler Murray is probably pretty focused on his NFL journey. So I believe Kyler Murray could start the season 2-0, and he is at home. So I'm going to go with them in this matchup to right their wrongs from last year. In our last 4 o'clock game, we have a huge matchup, a Super Bowl rematch from a few years ago. We have the Philadelphia Eagles 1-0 at the Kansas City Chiefs 0-1. The Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes. Both quarterbacks have managed to get a win against each other in the regular season. So who's going to break this tie? Um, Patrick Mahomes, unfortunately, though, is already without Rashid Rice, and he could be without Xavier Worthy as he is doubt for this matchup. Last week for the Eagles, Jalen Carter, he got ejected, but he will be back for this matchup and hopefully is matured and ready to go. Um, the Chiefs are in trouble of starting the season 0-2 for the first time since 2014, a few years before they even drafted Patrick Mahomes. My best bet for this matchup is Travis Kelce, 42.5 receiving yards. He is Patrick Mahomes' favorite target and most likely his only option in this matchup. As far as a winner in this matchup, I do have the Philadelphia Eagles to go into Kansas City and win this matchup. I'm not sure if Patrick Mahomes has enough to come out on top here, unfortunately. And it's not the playoffs. This is just the regular season. So Patrick doesn't and Chiefs don't play as tough. They definitely will be playing this game just as much, just as tough and just as rough because I'm sure they don't want to start the season 0-2. But I just believe the Eagles with Jalen Carter back this week will be able to go into Kansas City and get the job done. Let's go ahead and get into our Sunday night football action. We have the 0-1 Falcons at the 1-0 Vikings. The Vikings are favored in this matchup, 3.5 points, while the over and under is 44.5. In a devastating loss last week, Michael Penix Jr. and the Falcons traveled to Minnesota to face J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. Last week, the Falcons missed a game-winning field goal against the Bucks, while J.J. McCarthy secured his first NFL win in his first NFL start against the Chicago Bears. Both J.J. and Penix are seeking their second NFL win as starters. And the Falcons did also not bring their kicker, who missed that kick last week, to Minnesota. My best bet in this matchup is Bijan Robinson going over his 26.5 receiving yards. Not only not he's not known to really catch the ball and run after the catch, but after last week's performance, with the new quarterback, it's kind of hard to look that off. He put up a crazy amount of yards, catching and running. So it's hard to look that off. I'm gonna definitely go with that, and we'll see what happens. As far as a winner in this matchup, the Falcons, after that devastating loss last week, they're gonna definitely be seeking retribution on the Vikings, and they're gonna try and come out on top. But the Vikings being at home, I believe they'll secure this win. As far as the spread, I believe the Falcons could cover that 3.5. I believe this could be a field goal game. Over and under. I do like the points in this matchup. I do believe this could be an over type of look matchup. That is my more favorable bet as far as those two is the over. But like I said, the best bet in this matchup is Bijan Robinson's receiving total, 26.5 receiving yards, and the Vikings winning this matchup. But we'll see what happens, and uh, we'll we'll uh we'll get into our two Monday Night Football games in my next broadcast. That is a wrap for the football segment. So for all my football fans, I appreciate you guys for stopping in. Um, and we are going to go ahead and get right into our Friday night review episode of SmackDown. Thank you guys for stopping in. If you guys are leaving, make sure you guys hit that subscribe and like button down below. For all my wrestling fans that are just tuning in and drag the bar all the way down to the segment, I appreciate you guys for stopping in. Thank you guys. Welcome in, and also make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button down below as well. And let's go ahead and get right into it for you guys. Friday Night SmackDown kicked off huge with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar came down, he came out to the ring, cut a promo, and he was cut off with, or I'm sorry, he didn't even get to start cutting a promo. R-Truth's music hit, and R-Truth came down, and they went back and forth promo wise, going off about John Cena. Eventually, Brock Lesnar would go ahead and F5 R-Truth. His pants would rip, and that will definitely be a meme somewhere down the line. After that, and honestly, before I move on to the next thing, I'm highly upset that Sami Zayn was nowhere in the segment. And I'm gonna get into Sami Zayn next because he was next. But even Sami Zayn didn't mention anything that happened last week with Brock Lesnar. It makes it seem as though Sami Zayn is scared of Brock Lesnar, and I for one don't like that. Um, Sami Zayn got F5 by Brock Lesnar. Sami should be saying something about that. Just something's got to give. But anyways, Sami Zayn versus Ray Phoenix in the U.S. Open Challenge match was up next. That was a five-star matchup. The winner of this matchup was Sami Zayn. There was also a video package prior to this matchup with Solo Sikoa talking about how he wants a rematch, and he wants the respect back as well. Um, Up next, we had what was supposed to be a matchup between B-Fab and Julia. However, B-Fab was attacked before this matchup even got underway. Michin did come out for the save with a kendo stick. So I'm sure we will get a tag team between those four women later on down the line. After that, we had Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton for the women's title. This was a great matchup that unfortunately ended in a double countout. After this matchup, we did get Nia Jax coming out from the crowd and attacking both of these women, and laying Tiffany Stratton out in the ring. So I highly expect these three women to eventually get a triple threat match, and that's probably how Jade Cargill is going to win the matchup. Jade Cargill is most likely going to pin Nia Jax, and we're gonna get another singles match, I'm sure, down the line between Tiffany and Jade, where Jade will eventually officially pin Tiffany. But I'm sure we'll get that triple threat match where Jade wins the title, not beating Tiffany Stratton. Um, After that, we got our main event matchup, which was Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. The winner of this matchup was Drew McIntyre. After this matchup, he tried to continue an attack on Randy Orton. However, of course, Cody Rhodes rather returns, and he says that he'll see Drew at WrestlePalooza. Triple H a couple weeks ago, he already told us that Cody Rhodes was going to be coming back for WrestlePalooza, and Cody just made it official. Uh, we kind of already knew we were getting this matchup, but like I said, everything is now official. Can't wait for this. Next weekend, next Saturday, we will be seeing a huge WrestleMania type card. Uh, and I am more than excited. Can't wait to see. We got Brock Lesnar, we have Cody Rhodes, we got John Cena's final matchup um against Brock Lesnar. It's definitely going to be one hell of a card for sure. It's going to be one hell of a little pay-per-view they got going. And we'll have to tune in. I'll hit you guys with some a preview of that in one of these episodes. Uh I will hit you guys with another episode tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that as I get into some Monday Night Football and some Monday Night Raw and review some of that Sunday football as well. But as for now, just remember, this is my cabin, and I appreciate all you guys for stopping in. And until next time, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. I'll see y'all then.